Sharks. I'm Evan Mendelson.
And I'm Nick Morton.
Our company is Tipsy Elves, and our slogan is Not Your Mama's Christmas Sweater.
We are seeking a $100,000 investment for 5% of our company.
Before Tipsy Elves, Christmas sweaters were old, they smelled terrible, and you could only find them at your local thrift store.
Tipsy Elves recreates those Christmas sweaters of the past with fun, witty, high-quality Christmas sweaters that the whole family can enjoy. And they fit great, too. But don't take it from us, Sharks. See for yourselves. Welcome to the Tipsy Elves Fashion Show.
First, we have Greg. Greg is wearing our runaway sleigh sweater, where Santa's sleigh gets the best of him. He's also wearing our popular Christmas bomber hat.
Next up, we have Adri. She's wearing our elf sweater. She's also wearing our Believe fanny pack.
Next, we have Brad. Brad is wearing our popular Hanukkah sweater.
Next up, we have Nikki. Nikki's wearing our Bucktooth Rudolph sweater dress.
Oh, that's cute.
She's also wearing our reindeer animal hat.
Last but certainly not least, we have Andrew. Andrew's wearing our reindeer matchmaker jumpsuit, which is brand new this season. Zip it up and watch them kiss.
All right, Sharks, so you've seen a little bit of what we have to offer. Our beautiful models here are going to be handing out a sweater to each one of you that we've picked out, along with our bomber hat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The idea behind it was that there were a bunch of tipsy elves up in Santa's, making these sweaters. You guys look great. Now it's time to get down to business.
This stuff is hideous.
Oh yeah, you don't say you don't say there, Mr. Wonderful. That the shocked look of face there. I mean, obviously, it's supposed to look hideous. That's the joke of it, right? That's part of the allure of it. And I as a guy who can wear a blazer like this, I'm all for it. I'm open to the idea. Obviously, Tipsy Elves is one of the success stories of Shark Tank, and I don't really remember all the ins and outs of the deal, so like I'm just as new to watching this as you probably are, or at least remembering it, since this is all the way from season 5 of Shark Tank, their holiday episode. So yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I'm curious to see how they're selling it and where they're at now, because we're gonna check out their website and social media at the end of this video, as well as feature one of your comments from down below.
Why don't you give us some sales numbers?
We started in 2011. 2012, our sales were 862,000.
Which gave us 1.35 million in sales in those 2 years.
Wow.
Well, a little more than half of our orders came from Amazon. This year, we started dabbling in wholesale.
For example, one major retailer, Urban Outfitters, placed an order with us.
I own the ugliest sweater company in history, Coogee, one that Bill Cosby used
they're
to wear.
ugly.
No, trust me, they're really ugly. And the challenge we have is the returns. So how much does each one cost to make?
$12, $11.40 per
And
sweater.
what do you sell them for?
Sell them for $65.
Whoa!
Wow.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And you know what I love? What I love about this is it focuses in on a niche of person who actually wants this kind of holiday cheer, fun play, kind of wear. And that really speaks to knowing your avatar, right? If you are trying to figure out who your avatar is for your business, go over to superjoepardo.com/avatar and get my free 64-question workbook to really help you identify not only who you're supposed to be selling to, but the psyche of that person, and really get into the why they buy something versus something else, and then figure out how you can utilize the marketing that's working on that demographic and get it working for you. So that's superjoepardo.com/avatar. But I think that the difference there, and I mean, obviously we all know who Bill Cosby is, and this was filmed before the Bill Cosby issue era, but those sweaters, if I recall, while being ugly, were not purpose built, right? This is purposefully built for the holiday season.
What made you say one day, I'm gonna make ugly Christmas sweaters?
Evan was a lawyer, and it wasn't a job that he wanted to pursue.
I had a background in SEO, so I started doing internet businesses, like mostly informational websites where I'd make money off ad revenue. I saw there was a high demand for Christmas sweaters based on search volume.
Why get into the wholesale retail side of it? Doesn't that just complicate things and increase your overhead? Once you take a wholesale account, you've got to support them, you've got to interact with them, you've got to make their buyers happy, you've got to talk about next season.
At our core, we're an e-commerce site.
Why risk it and go into a new area where you're uncertain and you've got guys like Damon who know the stuff inside and out competing with you?
Because look, we all. No business is easy, right? If owning a business was easy, everyone would do it, and clearly everyone doesn't do it. So what I see here is an opportunity to expand and grow the business. Now, maybe that's growing the business a little too fast. Hopefully they can keep up with supply and all that, and the demand that they have with supply for the demand that they're getting from those retailers. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's kind of, I don't know how many clothing lines Mark had to that point by season 5, if he has any clothing line really, but there's an opportunity there for that growth. And just because Mark doesn't want to deal with the headaches that come with it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing for them to do. It's just a whole nother level of issues that can come up.
Mark's point, when you come over to our side, you're going to have to be able to take back inventory. You're going to have a warehouse the size of, 2 blocks. It's going to be a lot.
Sure.
Can I just, taking back inventory. So the difference between taking back an ugly Coogee sweater and that nobody wants versus these ugly Christmas sweaters is that for the right price, anybody will buy those ugly Christmas sweaters and add it to their collection, right? So because they're selling them, they're making them at $12 or just under $12, and they're selling them for $65. That's a huge amount of money that they could take. They could sell these things for $20, $25 on clearance right after Christmas season and blow out every piece of inventory they probably have. Their biggest limitation at that point might actually be the sizes that they have available versus the designs that they have available. Yeah, they might run into a couple, but again, I think if you had a couple that were like, yeah, these designs are just really not great, people just do not want these, you discount them to like $15 to $20, and you'll at least get your money out of them for sure.
Everybody's echoing the same thing. You shouldn't take this to retail, in my opinion.
We're pursuing the online strategy as much as we can.
Retail is the drug that everybody goes for. They look at that order and they say, wow, I got to fill that.
We have retailers coming to us, and it's just hard for us to turn it down.
It sounds like what you guys are...
That's such an honest answer. It is hard to turn down. But you have to remember, they're talking to people who are like, do I really want another retail headache, clothing headache? There's a reason Damon's been able to stand the test of time in the clothing industry because he dealt with those headaches. That it's a barrier to entry that not everyone's going to want to deal with. And clearly they're interested in dealing with the headaches that come with those issues.
Good at is SEO and selling online. But I'm getting the sense that you think that there's a ceiling there.
Yeah, we're pretty maxed out on SEO. 2011, we were #1 on ugly Christmas sweaters.
Do you guys do this full time?
I quit last year to focus on this full time, and I was getting paid about $170,000 a year plus bonus, so it was a bit of a
So you
leap
wake
of
up
faith.
one night, you've got a $170,000 job, you say, ugly Christmas sweaters.
I mean, I'm a risk-averse guy. It's a testament to me believing in this. Like, I really wouldn't walk away from a $170,000 job on a whim.
But we know the sweaters are ugly.
Well, hold on a second. So I'm all about creating a runway, right? So if it was on a whim, was it Evan, I think it was, or Nick, one of you two. If you're open to that, to having that runway, depending on how he was spending his money up to that point. I mean, it's always better to do something that you love versus something that you hate. I walked away from my family's business. It was a $100 million company. And it was hard. It was hard on me. It was hard on my family, and because I was in line to take it over. And I said in 2014, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Another story for another day. But the point there is that obviously, if he's working as in the lawyership field, I don't know if that's the term, lawyership, but if that means he has credentials. He has maybe a degree, a couple degrees, and I would tend to think that if this Christmas, he's also younger. I'm not sure how old he was at the time, but probably late 20s, early 30s. Look, at least that's the way it looks on TV in this video. Worst case scenario, he goes and gets another lawyer job. What's he gonna make? 150, 130. Like, he's still well ahead of the game. So yeah, you're giving up 170,000 plus bonuses for something that truly makes you happy. It's not like in my case, when I left, I didn't have a degree. So like, I wasn't like I could just walk into another, industry, and I wanted to leave the trucking industry as a whole anyway at the time. So for me, it was very difficult to just be like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start up a podcast and all that. But again, another story for another day. I'm just saying that, it's not like he can't take his credentials and go get another lawyer job if this didn't work out, which clearly up to that point in 2012 or 2011, 2012, it had.
But also the valuation is ugly. Why don't you try and defend why this is worth $2 million?
The reason our valuation is at that point is last year, we had $862,000 in sales. It would have, if we would have not run out, we would have had a little over $1 million.
Well, I'm looking at it saying you have to give a discount for the fact there's risk in the seasonality and the returns.
You know what? Don't ever listen to Kevin on that stuff. He's the worst at valuations.
I'm very good at it, actually.
Your problem is not valuation, right? If you're going to grow...
Really?
Yeah, because some of us know how to grow past a valuation. Some people look backwards, some of us look forwards.
Why don't you give him a $4 million valuation?
But it doesn't matter. The valuation isn't the issue.
matter.
It's where you can go. But the problem I have is that you really haven't explained how you're going to grow.
I know you guys hate when it sounds like people are, getting away from their core competency. It probably sounds like that, but it's really easily duplicating what's worked here. And from our point of view, we're maxing out everything we can possibly think of when it comes to the e-commerce
And that's the
site.
problem. Trying to do everything is what scares me significantly. And so even though I think you've got a good business, a growing business, I'm out.
No, Mark, I think it's more along the lines that you just don't want to be in the clothing industry personally. Looking for the reason to not invest, not worried about the valuation. Yeah, I mean, the valuation was a little on the high side. But it gives them room to negotiate $100,000 for 10% or 15% and pushes it down, but it enables the shark to get a little bit more in and get nice and cozy by the fire with the Tipsy Elves up at the North Pole. So no, I don't think the valuation thing, and this has come up in the comments a lot about the valuation should be based on this, or it should be based on this, or it's a multiple of this. And, that the valuation is all about repeatable business, right? Like, you could do $10 million in revenue, right? That doesn't mean that the business is necessarily worth $10 million. Now, if it's $10 million in 1 year and it's a recurring revenue model, and you say, okay, well, our attrition rate, the rate in which people are going to drop off, is I don't know, 10% or something like that. Okay, we know that 10% is going to come out of that, so that's $1 million right there. And I'm just doing nice round numbers so that my big math brain can do it all here on the fly. But so that's $1 million. So we got to be able to pick up ground, and then it's like, okay, well, how much have we picked up in the years past? So you look at past data and you try to project out. So in this case, it's a sweater or clothing. So like, you're probably going to have a repeat customer. So the question is like, okay, how many people are coming back to buy another sweater? I tend to think that people that are into this, these types of clothing, generally, if they're going to a lot of parties, which obviously during the last 2 years hasn't been tons of, but if you're going to a lot of parties, you're probably going to want to wear different clothes and have different matching things. So you're going to end up buying more and more and more. So I think that there's room for growth there, especially if your returning customers are like, 40 to 60% are returning customers, which would be pretty good, generally speaking. So yeah, I think that Kevin's a little off base there. I agree with Mark, but I don't agree with Mark on the sense that you're trying to do everything. Yeah, they're expanding a clothing line because they have a niche. They have a niche. They've grabbed onto it. I tend to think that they had at least some competition out there at the time, even if they were like the quote unquote only ones doing it. and it just makes an opportunity for one of these sharks to come on in and invest, because they're not asking for a ton of money.
I think you're on a really good start, but there's other companies that do this. There's nothing unique. I'm out.
I mean, that's all up on the designs, right? That's what do the designs look like? How, what's the SEO? I mean, obviously when they said, oh, we were ranked #1 for ugly sweater and all stuff, like, so either there is no competition and it's not that hard to rank for #1 if there's no competition for it, or there's competitors and you've been able to outrank them.
I'm going to make you an offer. Here's how it works. I'm going to give you the $100,000. I want $2 a sweater till I recapture my 100K. Then it drops to $1 a sweater in perpetuity.
What equity are you taking?
Zero equity.
And would you be involved in the business, or would you mostly just be treating it kind of as like a source of capital?
I work with all my entrepreneurs, and I do everything I can to optimize because our incentives are aligned. I'm about money.
So I'm actually shocked. Scrooge has made you guys an offer.
Do you like his offer?
I'd love to hear if there's any other offers on the table, but we're definitely interested.
I was something that comes to mind. I've always wondered about the perpetuity thing, and I assume it's up into the contract, that the way it's drawn up. But like, how do you buy somebody out when there's no percentage involved? So I mean, I guess you could, like, you would draw up in the contract, like, okay, there's this, these these gates of valuation of what you would cost to make him go away. Now, $2 out of the gate, no problem. They're gonna sell the 50, they're gonna sell their 100,000, no big deal, right? They're gonna make that happen. The dollar forever, though. See, I tend to think that actually becomes. It's not the end of the world, but it does kind of put a hindrance, because like their $12 cost becomes $13 cost, and that eats in, maybe not up front when they go to sell it, but when they have the returns and they start clearancing things, and you start factoring in that dollar, and you start factoring in, like, okay, we want to include free shipping at a certain dollar, like, oh, spend $50 on clearance items and get free shipping, so people are picking up 2 pieces instead of 1. That's $2, right? So it doesn't sound like a lot, but I kind of think, because of the model, especially going into retail and then potentially having to take in lots of returns there, tends to make me think, maybe that dollar is way more valuable. The $2 thing, that they're gonna blow through that very, obviously very quickly. So that I'm not worried about. But the dollar forever, that's rough.
So it's an interesting offer from Kevin. It's actually not that bad an offer. It's bad, but not that bad. I love the fact that you left a $175,000 a year job to do this, because that tells me you're all in, my friend. And I love that level of commitment to it. There's no going back for you. I don't have a problem with the retail. I think when you start out, you try everything. So here's my offer to you. $100,000 for 10%.
That works, right? I mean, look, yeah, you cut your valuation down in half. You've done you would have done $1 million. That puts it right there, but there's no guarantee that tomorrow you're going to quote unquote tomorrow, are going to turn out $1 million in sales. And even if you do, it's still about the profit margin at the end of the day. And if they were to sell, what that 10% would be worth. So I don't think it's unreasonable. And I think, somebody like Robert, who could help you on the tech side, plus, he's dialed into the geeks of the world with his, his techie side. I really think that it's an opportunity for them to have a marketing play as well.
Damon's being very quiet, so we'd also like to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
he
Robert
is.
gets
What are you
passed
doing?
over.
Robert, 100,000, 10% of the company. Kevin, $2 per
I'm not
sweater
greedy.
until
I
you
don't
get
need
your
it.
money back, till you get $100,000
Yes.
back, and then $1 in perpetuity.
Yes, that's correct, Damon.
I think that's more greedy than just taking 5% and calling it a day. At the end of the day, like, if you just wanted a loan, like, you could get $100,000. I mean, you know, they probably have some cash floating around themselves, and obviously they have the profit margin, so I don't really see why.
You're going to do what?
You're the clothing man.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard.
Evan have the clothes.
It's hard. I'm falling in love with the product and the guys. I still have inventory of ugly sweaters.
Exactly. That's the challenge. And you'll be selling those to me.
My challenge is exactly what Mark has been saying. This is very seasonal. You guys are doing great. You guys are doing what I cannot do. Online SEO. You're gonna go to these big guys. After they're full of you guys, they just let it go.
And we're not relying on their business. It's just adding.
Right, but if you're not relying on their business, then I can't be of service to you. You guys can go to 5 and 10 million without anybody.
But you can help add to what we're doing on the online side with your distribution channels and.
I can't add to that. You guys are already doing that. That's what Mark is saying.
He's a retail king. So if you're going
I'm
the
a
retail
king.
strategy,
I can make goods for you, but you're making the goods at the same price. So I'm out.
That's tough, but you know, I commend Damon for taking the high road there and delivering answers that he didn't necessarily have to give. Right? He could have just as easily swatted them down. I think it would be great. Now on his ugly sweaters, I just had a thought. I was like, so if I have all these ugly sweaters and I have these connections, why not take those ugly sweaters? Maybe go to like a Joann Fabrics and bundle them as a make your own ugly Christmas sweater kit. And like, bam, all of a sudden you put all that stuff together and you're adding on, lots of garland and bells and a sewing kit or whatever. And like, bam, all of a sudden you got yourself an ugly Christmas custom sweater that you get to make yourself. Ding, ding. I'm going to ding the bell for myself on that one.
so you have two offers on the table. You basically have one from me that doesn't take any of your equity away. I give you $100,000, you pay me $2 a sweater until I get my capital back, and then $1 in perpetuity. Or you have an offer from Robert, which was $100,000 for 10% equity.
Evan, I'm just really investing in you guys. I think that you can build this up. I think the college market is going to go huge for you guys. I want to participate in the company. Kevin just wants to suck money right off the top.
In the spirit of Christmas, I'm not stealing her equity like Robert is. There's a lump of coal over there.
He's not stealing equity. They came in with an offer for $100,000, 5%. Like, he wants 10%. He just told you he wants to be involved in the business. To me, that's a win. That's like literally what they're there for, is for somebody to work with them on the business. So I don't see a thing. And the other thing I'll mention about Damon, though, is Damon could easily just knock this off himself if he really wanted to. He obviously has the ability to make ugly Christmas sweaters, and he has access to designers, and he has access to retail. So he directly is going to be competing with them. When he says ugly sweaters, I guess he's really talking about the Coogee ones that he couldn't sell. Worst case scenario, you just give those away, like you donate those ugly sweaters that you can't get rid of and use it as a write-off. Come on.
Mr. Wonderful, we appreciate your offer, but Robert, we accept your offer.
Excellent, guys. Thank you. Excellent, yeah.
Nick and Evan, I would love to have you come on the show.
Congratulations.
Drop a comment down below.
Great job.
Nice, man. Yeah, awesome.
Kevin, how many versions of the royalty deal can you possibly do?
That's why I love me.
A deal with Robert was really a Christmas wish for us.
Yeah, our Christmas dreams definitely came true today.
That's awesome. Woo! All right, let's check out their website, see what they got going on now. So they got women's, men's, ugly Christmas sweaters, onesies, snowsuits, formal Christmas wear, matching family pajamas. That's a huge market. You go to men's. They even have golf stuff. What do they got under golf stuff? Men's navy golf polo. I mean, this doesn't look like a thing to me. Wait, he's got, what's this blue short? Oh wow, guy riding shark. I like that. That's I'm more interested in the shorts than the shirt. The TE, that's cool. Banana pants. There you go. That looks like they're sold out. Is that what they're telling me there? These are completely sold out of banana pants. I Jam Blaster sunglasses. It's so cool. I think the only thing that's kind of interesting here is there's so few reviews on some of these products. But they got baby stuff and let's see, Christmas ugly sweaters. Let's see what they had for this year. Apparently you get 50% off and get it by Friday, which is $5 shipping, which is pretty cool. So they have some ugly Christmas sweaters. Some not necessarily appropriate. Light up ones. That was pretty cool. Let's check out their Facebook. So on Facebook, they got 385,000 likes. Very, very cool. Let's see. December 11th is the last time they posted. Oh, it's Ryan Reynolds. How about that? They teamed up with Ryan Reynolds and Sick Kids to provide custom scrubs and blankets for nurses and children, matching our Christmas present sweater. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Not much engagement though, but I mean that's part of the. Facebook is definitely tough. Man, some of this stuff is not very appropriate. All right. Anyway, there you go. 108,000 on Instagram. They got quite a bit of engagement going on here over at Tipsy Elves. I think one of the things is being able to transcend. Going from we just have these sweaters to and maybe somewhat inappropriate clothing to we also make kids clothes. My Spotify year wrap gift, so I think it's pretty awesome that they are able to pull that off and really have a spot in people's hearts and minds for both these segments. November 5th was the last time on Twitter. Not doing too much on Twitter. Here we go on their huge Amazon store. They even have a Chia Pets. That's interesting. Let's see if we can find men's. You miss, you drink. 4,500 reviews there. I don't. It's grouping all the reviews together now. Okay, this one has 93 reviews. I like big bulbs. That has 93 reviews, 4.5 stars. Very cool. Very, very cool. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like. Obviously, it's getting late in the season at this point for all of that, but it's so they're not going to have every single style, which is good. They should be able to sell out the stuff. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Robbie from Trinidad, who said, "I love watching your show, especially your take on the manor. This helps me better form my business launching in 2022." That's so awesome to hear, Robbie. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you sticking around to the end. I'll see you in one of these two videos over here. Take care.